Get ready, because the other day I completed my villain arc, and now I'm seeking redemption. The way this works is that I'm going to look at every movie in the Superman franchise, I'll pick the best scene from each, and I'll explain why I believe it's the best. Keep in mind, I'll be judging these scenes from a writing standpoint, which means I won't be focusing on things like acting or special effects. By the way, I have a new book coming out, and it's on the craft of writing. It's called Story Made Simple, and it covers the 8 key elements of storytelling. If you want to learn more, check the description below and follow the link where you can pre-order your copy today. Alright, my first step toward redemption brings us to the 1978 Superman movie. This one's loaded with iconic moments, but one scene hovers high above the others, and it's when Superman makes his first appearance. Everything here is pure magic. The character interactions, the suspense, the sense of wonder, the humor, you name it. The scene opens when Lois Lane's helicopter struggles to take off, and next thing you know, she's hanging onto it by her fingertips. That's when Clark runs across the street to change into Superman for the first time. This comes not a moment too soon as Lois loses her grip and plummets to her apparent death. Hundreds of people watch while Superman flies up to catch her in dramatic fashion, and the moment is punctuated by the best dialogue exchange in the movie.
Easy, miss. I've got you.
You've got me! Who's got you?
Lois's reaction here is a home run, and moments later, Superman delivers an encore by catching the helicopter one-handed. He then safely returns her and the helicopter to the roof before joking around with her like what he did was no big deal. And you gotta love the grin on his face as he's walking away. He knows he just blew her mind and he's having fun with it. And we haven't even talked about all the little details in this scene, like how early on Lois loses her hat to foreshadow her upcoming fall, then Clark picks up the hat to signal that she's in good hands, and right after that Clark looks for a phone booth so he can change, but the only one available won't work, so he has to improvise, and then from there people react to everything from his costume to his superpowers to his actions, and the whole time he carries himself with that trademark politeness of his. The scene is just so true to who he is. Every little moment matters, and superhero introductions just don't get much better than this. Next up is Superman 2, and in my previous video I talked about how I love General Zod and how he elevates this movie. He's an imposing threat, he dominates planet Earth with unshakable confidence, and he's the villain this franchise deserves. His best scene is without question the White House takeover. He and his partners drop through the roof and cause a panic, while cops and soldiers fire back with everything they have. Bullets and rockets prove useless, and Zod's partners wreck the place while Zod casually stands by. Then when someone comes after him with a machine gun, he grabs it and starts shooting with this amused look on his face. All his moments shine in this scene, but the best is when he barges into the Oval Office. He demands that the president kneel before him, and a decoy does, but Zod immediately knows this isn't the real president.
You are not the president. No one who leads so many could possibly kneel so quickly.
From there, Zod and the real president have a confrontation that makes them both look like worthy leaders. And the scene ends with Zod in control while the president puts his faith in Superman. This scene does such a great job highlighting Zod's strongest qualities, whether it's his confidence, ruthlessness, intelligence, you name it. Zod's sidekicks also shine throughout the scene, and little things like the falling American flag signal how desperate the situation is getting and how unstoppable this guy is. Now we move on to Batman Forever, or Superman 3. Most of this movie is brutal to watch, but there are some redeeming scenes mixed in. At first, I was tempted to go with the Superman versus Clark fight as the best one. This is when evil Superman flies into the junkyard, starts screaming, and he scares away all the workers. Then Clark somehow emerges from Superman's body as a separate person. I'm not sure how this works, but if you like what you're seeing, don't thank the writers, thank their cocaine. Now, as much as I enjoy the junkyard fight and seeing Clark overcome Superman, there's one scene I like better, and it's when Superman first becomes corrupted by the synthetic kryptonite. This comes shortly after Richard Pryor gives Superman the kryptonite, but the stuff initially doesn't appear to have any effect. Later, Superman meets Lana Lang at her house, and she steps out of the room to take a phone call. That's when he has this strange reaction to the kryptonite. At first, we don't know what's going on, then the scene takes an interesting turn. Lana tells him about someone in desperate need of his help, but surprisingly, Superman says he'll take care of it later. He then starts hitting on Lana in chilling fashion.
But the bridge...
Oh, it's okay. I always get there on time. Come on, let's relax a little. You know, it's unusual finding a good-looking girl like you alone like this.
Are you sure you shouldn't do something about the bridge?
What bridge?
Lana grows anxious before reminding him of the people who need saving, and Superman slowly comes to his senses before heading out. I love how this scene uses mystery and tension to introduce the evil Superman. It raises questions about what's going on with him, then it delivers an incredibly uncomfortable moment to show that he's becoming corrupted. Like, this is terrifying. Lana is all alone, she doesn't know what's going on, and we worry for her as well as worrying for the rest of the planet. This is when you realize how dangerous Superman can be if he doesn't have the right attitude. It's a shame that the movie did a poor job exploring this in the second half. He basically just commits some acts of vandalism and helps the bad guys out for a bit, but if the script took a stronger approach, this movie could have been something special. Next, we move on to Superman 4, which is not the worst movie in the franchise. I don't care what anyone says. Yes, it's a slop fest in terms of its writing and special effects and, well, pretty much everything, but it's a fun slop fest, and it's one of the better bad movies out there. As for its best scene, I thought about going with the one where Superman rescues the cosmonauts in space. Here they reintroduce our hero, give us some laughs, and it all ties into the theme of seeking peace. Not that the movie does a tremendous job exploring its themes, but hey, at least it succeeds for about 2 minutes. Anyway, the best scene is when Lex Luthor introduces Superman to Nuclear Man. This is a fun, wacky scene that pushes the plot forward with charm and humor. The setup here is that Lex wants to have Nuclear Man kill Superman, so Lex threatens to blow up a building in order to lure Superman into his trap. Superman arrives shortly after, and Lex delivers a silly yet hilarious greeting before bantering with Superman and finally leading him outside into the sunlight. That's when Lex introduces Nuclear Man, who's like the Ivan Drago of supervillains. He's big, he's strong, he speaks in one-syllable words, and he's also unintentionally hilarious.
Destroy Superman. Destroy Superman. First, I have fun.
Now, this scene is by no means great, but the interactions between the characters are amusing, some of the dialogue is clever, and the fun factor is through the roof. Uh-oh, it's flip phone time again. My quest for redemption now takes us to 2006 with Superman Returns. The best one is an easy choice, and it's when Superman stops the plane from crashing. This is his welcome back moment, and what a moment it is. The setup here is that Kevin Luthor causes a power outage while pursuing world domination, and the blackout leads to a space shuttle's flight test going horribly wrong. Lois, who's covering the story from inside an attached plane, finds herself in mortal danger. That's when Superman arrives, and he detaches the shuttle before guiding it into space. But don't exhale just yet, because now the plane is out of control. Superman rushes in to stop its fall, but one attempt after another fails, which pushes him to his physical and mental limits as he races to find a solution. He finally gets a handle on the plane as it enters a baseball stadium, and the crowd goes berserk as he safely lands it on the field. Afterwards, he checks on everyone inside, and he and Lois have this intense moment where they see each other for the first time in years. Now, obviously, this scene echoes the helicopter scene from the first movie, and I have no problem with that because it does a great job raising the stakes. Whereas Superman has an easy time rescuing the helicopter, here he has to really work for it. The suspense drives this scene hard, and I love the little details as the plane suffers all sorts of damage during its descent. The whole thing takes your breath away, and it also takes Lois's away. Superman's efforts remind her why she fell in love with him, and the tension during this reunion lights a fire between them. Okay, now you can get your smartphones out because up next is Man of Steel. This one has some amazing action sequences mixed throughout, but the one that hits the hardest is when Superman destroys the world engine. This comes after General Zod starts terraforming Metropolis, and the stakes could not be much higher here. The weapon cooks the city, and the human race is helpless to stop it. Missiles are useless, planes are getting thrown into skyscrapers, and there's nothing people can do but run. Meanwhile, Superman isn't faring much better. He's just trying to stay afloat until he gets buried under the world engine, and that's when all hope appears lost. Despite this, Perry White sacrifices his safety to help one of his employees who's trapped under rubble. As the situation grows darker, he stays with her, refusing to let her die alone. I love little heroic moments like this, and what I love even more is Superman emerging from under the world engine and giving everything he has while flying straight up through its beam to destroy the thing. It's a powerful moment, not just because a major threat gets destroyed, but because heroes emerge in the air as well as on the ground. Intense action scenes like this only work if you have a human element involved. It's like the Death Star battle in Star Wars. There's a reason why the movie keeps cutting to Leia and the Rebel base during the battle, and it's to remind us of the emotional stakes, remind us of who we can lose and why the action sequence matters. Man of Steel does the same thing here, and the movie's darkest moment brings out the best in its characters. Finally, we have, oh God, please no, Please do not make me say something nice about Batman vs. Superman. I get that I'm trying to complete a redemption arc, but this is too much. This could send me right back to the hospital. Please don't, please. All right, fine. Just for the sake of redemption, I will do it just this once. It's never happening again. Now, I'd like to say the warehouse scene is the best, but that feels like cheating because it only involves Batman. For true redemption, I gotta tackle a scene that includes Superman, and I'm gonna go with the one where he and Jesse Luthor have their rooftop conversation. Now, let me be clear. Jesse Luthor's master plan in this movie is one of the most convoluted and mentally abusive things I've ever encountered in a story. I'm not even going to bother trying to explain it, so let's skip straight to the confrontation. Here, Superman arrives to stop Luthor once and for all, and that's when Luthor launches into a speech about his personal struggles and philosophies. We learn that he felt powerless as a child after being beaten up by his father, and those feelings of powerlessness are what motivated him to seek total control. He holds a grudge against all godlike figures because no one protected him as a child, and now he wants to ruin Superman's reputation by having him kill Batman. Superman, of course, refuses, and that's when Jesse Luthor reveals that Martha is in danger. This pushes Superman over the edge, but with his mother being held hostage, there's nothing he can do but comply.
And now God bends to my will.
Now, I don't like this version of Luthor at all, and it's not a knock against the actor. It's a knock against the script he's working with. I simply could not get invested in this clown, but the rooftop scene is the closest I come to taking him seriously. Hearing his philosophy and his motivations, it humanizes him without overdoing it. It's not a total sob story. It just gives you enough to understand the guy while still recognizing him as a clear villain. With that being said, this scene is still far from perfect. Especially the blackmail plan with Martha, that's just a lazy excuse to have the two heroes fight. But overall, this confrontation has its bright spots, and in a movie as dark and dumb as BVS, that's something to celebrate. So I hope this helps. Question of the day, what do you think are the best scenes in the Superman franchise? Let us know in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. If you want to support the channel, please pick up a copy of any one of my books and be sure to leave reviews on Amazon. Bad Parts is great if you like small town horror. It's about people trading away their sick and injured body parts in order to get healthy again. Also, be sure to check out my other videos, like, share, and subscribe. And as always, remember to keep on writing.